Have you ever wondered, why were you born in that exact year and not a moment before or after? Not just the year itself, but the final digit, that last number, that strange little mark that most of us ignore. 0, 1, 2, 3, a small symbol, barely a breath, yet it never leaves your life. We use it for records, IDs, forms. But what if it holds something deeper? Not a prediction, not a destiny, but a rhythm, a whisper, a sacred note in the song that is you. Tonight, we won't speak of horoscopes or fate. Instead, we will return to something far older, the quiet teachings of Zen, where nothing is explained but everything is revealed. So close your eyes now, lie back, let the weight of your body slowly melt into your bed or your cushion, and allow this strange little journey to begin not outward, but inward. You are not here to figure out what the last digit of your birth year means. You are here to feel it, to walk with it, to listen to the way it echoes through the chambers of your life. Let us begin. In Zen Buddhism, nothing is taken at face value. A tree is not just a tree. A teacup is not just a teacup. A question is never just a question. And time is not a line. It is not the past dragging behind you or the future rushing towards you. Time, in Zen, is like mist. It surrounds you but slips through your fingers the moment you grasp it. So what then is a birth year? Why does it feel so heavy sometimes? Why do we attach so much to that number, the year we entered this world? Because somewhere, beneath calendars and clocks, we all long to belong, to make sense of this beginning, to believe that when we arrived, it wasn't by accident. It was in rhythm with something deeper. The last digit of your birth year is not a code. It is a bell, a sound that only you can truly hear. And tonight, we will walk through each of those digits, one by one. We will visit their meanings, not as facts, but as mirrors, as poetry, as doors that open into stories, and those stories will open into you. So take a deep breath with me now. Inhale through the nose, let it rise, hold it softly, and exhale gently, like wind leaving a mountain. Feel your body settle. Your thoughts, if they arise, let them pass, like clouds in a moonlit sky. Tonight, we're not here to push thoughts away. We're here to watch them, like birds that visit and leave. You may fall asleep during this. That is okay. That is beautiful. This is not a lecture. This is a gentle river. It will carry you. Most people define themselves by the decade they were born in. I'm a 90s baby. I was born in the 70s. But Zen does not care about trends or timelines. Zen asks, what is your breath doing now? What remains when all numbers fall away? And yet, there is something tender and ancient in numbers, in their repetition, their shape, their music. The number at the end of your birth year is like the echo left behind when the bell has stopped ringing. Not your age, not your generation, but your tone. Some people arrive with the energy of beginnings like 0. Others come in with the weight of endings like 9. And some carry the winds of change like 5. You'll find out what yours holds very soon. But first you must empty the cup. Parable introduction. The Master's Bowl. A student once asked his Zen master, "Teacher, what is the meaning of life?" The master did not answer. He simply poured tea. He poured and poured until the cup overflowed and spilled onto the table. The student cried out, "Stop! It is full!" The master looked up and said calmly, "Exactly. You came with your cup already full. How can I offer you anything if there is no space to receive?" And so, before we begin speaking of numbers, of symbols, of patterns and truths, we must empty ourselves of assumptions, of expectations, of wanting to find something. Only then can truth slip in like moonlight through a window crack. Now, breathe with me again. Inhale, hold, exhale, and as you do, imagine your birth year glowing softly in front of you. Just the last digit, a single number floating in darkness. It shimmers with light not because it is magic, but because you are looking at it with stillness. That number is the doorway, and you are ready to walk through it. Soon, you'll hear the stories behind each digit, and when we reach yours, something inside may recognize it not as truth, but as a mirror. Zen does not show you what you are. It simply removes what you are not. So now, with your body soft, your mind quiet, your heart open, we begin, digit by digit, like footsteps in a misty garden. You may start to fall asleep. That is okay. Each number will still reach you. The mind rests, but the spirit listens. Let the stories enter gently. Let them stir something ancient. Let them say what words cannot. The bell has been struck. The first digit awaits. And we begin with 0. Module 1. 0. The sacred emptiness. 0 is not a number. Not truly. It does not carry the same weight as 1, or the certainty of 5, or the finality of 9. 0 is something altogether different. It is the pause before existence, the moment before the beginning begins. It is the breath held in the lungs before the first cry of a newborn, the hush before a temple bell rings, the quiet potential that exists before the painter dips their brush in colour. 0 is often misunderstood in the modern world. It is mistaken for lack, for absence, for a void where something ought to be. But in Zen, nothing is never nothing. Emptiness is not a failure. It is a field of infinite becoming. If the last digit of your birth year is 0, there may be something inside you that has always felt invisible, yet deeply present. You may have grown up feeling different, not in an obvious way, not loud or rebellious, but as though you were tuned to a frequency others didn't quite hear. The world may have misunderstood your stillness as passivity, your quiet nature as disengagement, but in truth, your essence is sacred, deep, formless. You may not be the one who enters the room with thunder, but you are the one people feel when everything else goes quiet. You do not crave to be the center of the circle. You are the space that holds the circle together. The empty cup, a Zen parable retold. There once was a young monk who walked for 7 days across forests and hills, barefoot and eager, seeking the wisdom of a teacher known only as the Whisperer. This master, it was said, lived far from the chaos of men and spoke only when necessary. When the monk finally arrived at the monastery, his feet were blistered, his throat dry, yet his heart burned with anticipation. He had studied sacred texts, practiced breath control, memorized koans. He believed he was ready to be filled with truth. The master greeted him with a nod, not with words. They sat. The master poured tea, and poured, and poured. The young monk, confused, watched as the tea spilled over the edges of the cup, soaking the table and dripping to the floor. "Master," he cried, It's full. The master looked him in the eyes, calm, still, unmoved, and said, "Exactly. You are full, full of conclusions, full of assumptions, full of learning. There is no room left. You have come to me, not with a question, but with your own answer. Come back when your cup is empty." Years passed, 6 long winters. The monk wandered, not in search of the master, but in search of emptiness. When he finally returned, he didn't say a word. He simply bowed, sat down, and placed an empty cup between them. Reflection. The people of zero. People born under the energy of zero are often misunderstood. You may not fit easily into predefined roles or categories. You are not easy to pin down, not because you're elusive, but because you are open. Others may project things onto you assuming you are quiet because you are insecure, or distant because you are uninterested. But the truth is, the world's noise often doesn't make sense to you. It overwhelms. It distracts. Deep inside, you seek clarity, not noise. Stillness, not drama. Depth, not distraction. You are drawn to the space between sounds, the moment between thoughts. You do not need to lead to be powerful. You do not need to speak to be heard. You do not need to be seen to be felt. You carry the quality of water still on the surface, but vast and mysterious underneath. People may follow you, not because you command them to, but because your presence creates space for their own reflection. Zen thought, emptiness is not nothingness. In Western thinking, emptiness is feared. We rush to fill the silence with words, the calendar with tasks, the room with clutter. We chase stimulation to avoid facing what silence might reveal. But in Zen, emptiness is the highest potential. It is the hollow of the flute that allows music to pass through. It is the space inside the bowl that holds the nourishment. It is the pause between the inhale and the exhale. In this space, everything happens. People of zero are like this. You do not create by adding more. You create by allowing more. You make space in conversations, in rooms, in relationships, and within that space, others find clarity, healing, breath. You are not missing something, you are holding something. The gift of silence, the power of pause. Meditative imagery. The Valley of Zero. Now close your eyes gently. Let your breath rise like a mist and fall like petals to the earth. Picture yourself walking alone in a wide, open valley. There are no buildings here, no noise, no path carved into the earth, only soft hills covered in grass, glowing in twilight. The sky is vast, almost infinite, a kind of soft silver that wraps the world in peace. In the middle of this field is a wooden platform, aged, beautiful, untouched. There is nothing on it, no object, no statue, no offering, just emptiness, waiting. You step onto it barefoot. The ground is cool, the wind doesn't speak, and slowly, even your thoughts begin to slow until they are as silent as the valley itself. You sit, you close your eyes, and for the first time in a long while, you do not need to do anything. You are not being asked to change, not being called to fix, not being pushed to improve. You are simply here. You are enough. Because zero is not waiting to be filled. Zero is the fullness before the world insists on a name for it. Affirmations for zero. Whisper these truths inside your heart. I am whole, even when I feel empty. I hold space for truth to arrive. I do not need to be fast, loud, or certain to be real. I am the calm within the storm. I am here to hold, not to chase. In stillness, I see more clearly. My quiet nature is not a weakness, it is wisdom. I honor the space within me. I begin again from zero. Sleep induction, descent from zero. Now let the valley slowly dissolve into darkness. The stars above begin to appear, one by one, not urgently, but gently, like they've always been there, just waiting for you to notice. Let your chest rise and fall, like the quiet hills of the earth. Let your thoughts drift like mist across the field. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are resting in the most sacred place of all, the space before sound, the stillness before movement, the breath before awakening. You are zero, not the lack of meaning, but the stillness that allows meaning to emerge. Sleep now, quietly, completely. And when you are ready, you may walk forward into the next digit. For now, you rest in the pause, and that is more than enough. Module 2, 1. The solitary path. If the last digit of your birth year is 1, then you were not born to follow. You were not meant to be one of many. You were not placed here to mimic, to mirror, or to merge with the noise of the world. You were born beneath the sign of the solitary flame, the path that begins without footsteps before it, the breath that begins before the world expects it. The spark that rises before the fire is understood. One is not a crowd. It does not seek validation in repetition. It is the pathless path, the way walked by those who do not wait for permission and do not rely on tradition to prove their existence. One is not a trend. It is the step taken while others hesitate. It is the moment of subtle motion, when the trees lean slightly, when the sky shifts shade, when a bird takes wing in absolute silence. That is what it means to be born under one. You are the match that strikes in a darkened room, not to be seen, but to light the way, even if no one is watching. You carry a presence that feels both ancient and new. You do not roar, you do not announce. But when you enter a space, the air seems to still, just for a moment. Because somewhere in your silence, there is something powerful, and it cannot be imitated. Parable: The Monk and the Mountain. A young student once came to a master, troubled, restless, confused. He had walked a long way, not because he was seeking fame or fortune, but because he could not shake the feeling that he was walking alone. Wherever he went, he felt different, disconnected, as though no one truly walked beside him, no matter how crowded the room. He asked the master, "Why do I feel so alone on this path? Why does it seem like no one understands where I'm going?" The master did not give an answer in words. Instead, he walked to the edge of the monastery's wooden deck and pointed toward the vast, mist-covered mountains in the distance. He placed a bamboo staff in the student's hand and simply said, "You are not walking where others walk. You are walking where you must. There is no trail, but that does not mean there is no way." And with those few words, the master turned and went back inside. The student stood in the quiet. He looked out at the mountains, not marked, not named. He saw no signs, no roads, no travelers. But something within him moved, not with fear, but with recognition. And so, he walked. He did not ask where it led. He did not seek approval. He did not wait to be joined. He simply trusted that the mountain would reveal itself with every step he took. Years passed. When the student returned, his hair was longer, his robe worn. But his eyes, they did not seek permission. They did not look outward for applause. They were clear like water that had been still for a very long time, and when others looked into them, they saw themselves reflected, gently, without distortion. That is the journey of one. It begins alone, but it becomes a mirror for the world. Reflection. The people of one. If your number is one, you may have felt, even since childhood, a kind of gentle distance from the world. Not isolation in the painful sense, but something quieter, a sense of walking to a rhythm that no one else seemed to hear. In groups, you may remain on the edges. In noise, you seek stillness. You are not rushed, not hurried, not drawn toward what others chase. You do not speak unless you mean it. You do not chase unless your soul is stirred. And this can make you feel misunderstood. But that's because you weren't designed to fit in. You were designed to stand at the edge, to see clearly, to move intentionally, to understand what others overlook. Some live to belong. You live to distill, to refine, to know who you are when all the expectations fall away. This world often rewards noise. It celebrates the loudest, the fastest, the most visible. But Zen has always honoured the one who walks slowly, who sees what is unseen, who listens to what is not said. You are that kind of soul. Zen thought, the finger and the moon. There is an ancient Zen saying, the finger pointing at the moon is not the moon. And in those few words, a lifetime of teaching unfolds. Because most of humanity spends their lives chasing the finger, chasing the guide, chasing teachers, systems, formulas, external truths. They look to someone else to show them what is real, and in doing so, they forget to look at the very thing being pointed to. But those born with the energy of one, they often look past the finger. They see the moon, even when others tell them not to. Even when society says, follow this way, say these words, walk this road. The one in you whispers, no, I'll find my own way. At first, it feels like exile, but in time, you'll realize it's freedom. The world doesn't need more followers. It needs those who walk quietly with courage. It needs those who can hear their soul even when no one else is listening. That's you. Meditative imagery, the bamboo path. Close your eyes, dear traveller. Let the breath rise and fall. Inhale gently, hold, and let go. Now, imagine a bamboo forest rising around you. Tall, smooth trunks reaching toward a sky painted in soft grey. There is no trail beneath your feet, just moss, cool and lush. You walk slowly. The air is quiet, almost sacred. Each step is a whisper. Each breath echoes like a bell. There are no signs, no voices, no company. You are completely alone. And yet, for the first time, you feel utterly awake. You begin to hear your heartbeat steady and strong. You feel your thoughts slowing down, like autumn leaves drifting through air. You do not long for others to join you. You do not fear being unseen. You simply walk, and that is the beauty of one, not being followed, but being free. Inner dialogue, the voice of one. And now, from the silence within, a voice begins to rise clear and steady. You do not need to explain yourself. You are the path. You do not need to hurry. Your time is not behind, it is ahead. You do not need to compare. There is no race. You walk further out, not because you are lost, but because your truth lives beyond the edges. Let that voice become your breath. Let it soften the walls you've built to defend your pace. Let it remind you, you are not strange. You are not too late. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Affirmations for 1. Repeat these gently in your mind, as if planting them like seeds in still earth. I am enough, even when I walk alone. My path may be quiet, but it is real. I am not waiting for permission. I am moving with presence. I trust my inner voice. I do not need to follow the crowd to know I'm on the way. I honor the silence that shapes me. I am a light not for show, but for truth. I am the beginning of something unseen. I am one, and that is everything. Sleep induction. Drift into solitude. Now let the bamboo forest fade. Let the trunks dissolve into mist. Let the air grow still. Your body softens. Your thoughts float like paper lanterns into the dark. Your eyes grow heavy. Let your chest rise like a slow tide and fall like a wave that has nowhere to go but peace. You do not need to make decisions now. You do not need to chase meaning. You are simply here. Let go of every should. Let go of every when. Let go of every echo that asks you to be someone else. You are walking nowhere tonight, and that is beautiful. As you rest, remember this. The path of 1 continues inside you. It may not be loud, it may not be clear, but it is sacred. It is yours. And tonight, it walks with you in your dreams. Now sleep, child of the solitary path. And when you are ready, we will meet the mirror mind. The digit 2. Module 3. 2. The mirror mind. If your birth year ends in 2, you were not just born under a number. You were born into a sacred position. The space between self and other. The bridge between inner knowing and outer reality. The mirror. To live as a 2 is to walk a path that is not always visible because it does not move in straight lines. It bends, it reflects, it listens before it speaks. 2 is not about separation, as some might think. It's not about being torn in half or split between poles. No, in the wisdom of Zen, 2 is about reflection. It is the quiet meeting between the sky and the lake. It is the breath between 2 people that carries unspoken understanding. It is the space where empathy is born and where compassion flows naturally without being asked. If you are a 2, you may feel deeply, sometimes too deeply. You may walk into a room and feel overwhelmed, not because of the noise, but because of the energy. You sense it. You absorb it. You can't always explain it, but you carry it in your body. At times, the emotions you feel won't even be yours. You'll carry the sadness of a stranger, the tension in someone's voice, the heartbreak that someone else has not spoken aloud. And then you wonder, why do I feel so heavy? But that weight isn't a flaw. It's a gift. A delicate, sacred gift called the mirror mind. Parable, the wind and the flag. 2 monks once stood beneath the tall gates of a Zen temple. A large flag fluttered above them, caught in a soft mountain breeze. The younger monk watched it dance and said, "The flag is moving." The older monk, who had practiced longer, shook his head. "No," he replied, "the wind is moving." They began to argue softly about what was true, about what was real. Was it the flag or the wind? The master, overhearing them, stepped into the conversation. He did not raise his voice. He did not scold. He simply said, "You are both mistaken. It is not the flag. It is not the wind. It is your mind that moves. In that moment, silence fell, and in that silence, they saw the truth. That reality is not always what's outside us. It is what moves within us. And when we understand that, we stop trying to explain what we see, and we start exploring why we see it the way we do. Reflection, the people of two. If you are a two, you may often be the quiet one, the observer, the listener, the connector. You don't speak to take up space. You speak to create understanding. You don't argue for dominance. You ask questions to build bridges. You are usually the first to sense when something is off. The slight drop in someone's tone, the way someone avoids eye contact, the long pause before "I'm fine." Your sensitivity is not weakness. It is awareness. You are a mirror, not a wall. Not something that blocks truth, but something that reflects it back gently, clearly, honestly. But this sensitivity can feel like a burden. You may often feel torn between others' needs. You want to help, to hold, to understand. You feel the pain of others so strongly that sometimes you forget to check in with yourself. In reflection, you can become lost, so aware of everyone else that you forget your own center. But remember this: your ability to hold space for others comes only when you also hold space for yourself. You are not here to fix the world. You are not here to carry everyone's pain. You are here to reflect truth with kindness. And in doing so, you help the world see itself more clearly. Zen thought into being. Thich Nhat Hanh, a beloved Vietnamese Zen teacher, often spoke of something he called into being, a word that doesn't exist in English, but should. Into being means nothing exists by itself. Everything contains everything else. A flower is not just a flower. It contains the sun, the rain, the soil, the gardener's hands, time itself. You are not just you. You are your mother's laughter. You are your friend's heartbreak. You are your teacher's silence. You are made of every voice that has ever shaped you. Those born under two often live in this state of deep awareness. You understand that life is not you versus them. Life is a mirror, and every person you meet is a reflection, not always of what you are, but of what you carry, what you fear, what you long for, what you're still learning to accept. You don't need to resolve every tension. Sometimes it's enough to sit with it, to hold it gently, to reflect it without judgment. Meditative imagery, the still lake. Now breathe with me. Let your chest rise. Let it fall. Slowly, slowly. Now imagine yourself walking alone on a narrow mountain path. The stones beneath your feet are worn smooth with time. The air is clean, thin, cold, ancient. You walk in silence, hearing only your breath. Eventually, you arrive at a lake. Still, silver, perfectly still. It doesn't ripple unless you do. It doesn't move unless you speak. You look into it and see not just your reflection, but everything. Your hopes, your fears, your questions, your light, your shadow. And in that moment, the lake speaks not with words, but with a presence. It tells you something no one else could ever say. You do not have to choose between self and other. You are both. You are not torn. You are whole. You sit by the lake. You breathe with it. And in its stillness, you find yourself again. In a dialogue, the voice of two. A voice gently rises within you. soft as water, over stone. I do not have to carry everything. I do not need to rescue everyone. I am enough, just as I am. I am allowed to rest. I can witness without drowning. I can care without breaking. I see because I am seen. Let this voice wash through your chest like warm rain. Let it cleanse the heaviness you've picked up from others. Let it remind you that you, too, are worthy of care. You don't need to close your heart. You only need to balance it. Affirmations for 2. Repeat these softly, as if speaking to the most tender part of yourself. I reflect truth with kindness. I do not need to fix others to be whole. I am a mirror, not a sponge. I allow emotions to pass through me, not stay in me. I see others clearly because I've begun seeing myself. My sensitivity is not a weakness, it is wisdom. I honor the balance between giving and keeping. I carry both light and shadow, and I hold them gently. I am too, and in me, many are seen. Sleep induction, the still mirror. Now, let the lake grow even stiller. Let the stars begin to appear above it, softly reflecting in its perfect surface. A soft wind brushes your skin, but it doesn't disturb your heart. You are calm. You are safe. You are resting in your own clarity now. Let your thoughts soften like ripples that fade on their own. Let your body melt into the bed or floor beneath you. Let every breath become a reflection of the earth. Slow, quiet, infinite. You are not the chaos around you. You are the clarity within it. You are not pulled in many directions. You are the center, the calm eye of the storm. You are the space between. You are the balance. Rest now, mirror soul. You do not need to see more tonight. You only need to sleep. And when you rise, you'll walk again. This time, into the flowing current. Next comes the seeker. The river. Digit 3, the river seeker. Module 4, 3, the river seeker. If the last digit of your birth year is 3, you were born with a current running through you. You carry the spirit of a seeker, a questioner, an explorer, not one lost in the world, but one deeply attuned to the motion of life itself. You may have often felt like your life was meant to move, not because you disliked stability, but because stillness sometimes feels like stagnation. The energy of 3 is like a river. It cannot be dammed for long. It winds through ideas, places, identities, never content to settle where growth has stopped. To be a 3 is to carry a question that never fully goes silent inside you. Is this it? Is there something more? What else could life become, if I dared to ask? You do not seek answers because you're empty. You seek because you are full of curiosity, full of longing, full of possibility. You do not run from discomfort, you run toward truth, even if that truth shifts shape again and again. And like the river, you change as you go. You take the shape of whatever container life places you in, and when it no longer fits, you overflow and find your own path forward. Parable, the leaf in the river. There once was a young monk, restless in his studies. He had read the sutras. He had listened to the elders. He had even sat through long days of silent meditation. But something inside him remained unsatisfied. Then he heard of a legend that somewhere downstream, a sacred leaf had fallen into the river, and within that single leaf was the truth, the final understanding, the key to peace. The monk packed his things and set out alone, chasing the river from village to village, sleeping under trees and bathing in cold dawns. He asked every fisherman, every elder, every wanderer along the banks, "Have you seen the sacred leaf?" Some gave stories, some gave riddles, some gave nothing but tired smiles. He kept going. He thought he saw it once, a flash of green spinning in the current, but by the time he reached the bend, it was gone. Exhausted and bone-weary, he finally collapsed beneath a willow tree by the river's edge. He slept, and when he awoke, there it was, the leaf, soft, simple, and drifting just beside him on the water. No glow, no halo, just there. And in that moment, he laughed not from joy, but from realization. The leaf had never been the answer. The river was. The whole time, it wasn't about what he was chasing. It was about what he had been walking through. The seeking wasn't the obstacle. It was the lesson. Reflection, the people of three. Those born under the energy of three often live many lifetimes in one. You might change careers, countries, philosophies, and still be ready to begin again. You do not fear reinvention. You crave it. You may have heard people describe you as indecisive, as if movement is a weakness, but they do not understand. Your movement is your truth. You move not because you're lost, but because you're alive, because curiosity is stitched into the fabric of your spirit. You fall in love with ideas, with moments, with people, not because you're scattered, but because you feel deeply, and you are always willing to be surprised by life again. You are not meant to settle too soon. You are here to taste life, to try it on, to walk through doors others never even notice. But even the river gets tired. There are days when all the motion feels endless, when you wonder if you'll ever arrive, when the next thing feels just as incomplete as the last. This is when Zen whispers to you, you are not the things you seek. You are not the answers you chase. You are not the destination. You are the current. You are the motion. You are the river that holds it all. Zen thought. Shoshin, beginner's mind. In Zen, there is a beautiful concept known as Shoshin, the beginner's mind. It means to meet each moment, each person, each experience, as if you've never seen it before, with no assumptions, no conclusions, no knowing. You, child of three, live close to this truth. You are often skeptical of certainty. You see cracks in dogma. You question what others have accepted. You are not here to memorize. You are here to witness. This is not a flaw. It is a kind of freedom, the freedom to remain awake, the freedom to grow without needing to be right. But even seekers have a shadow, and yours is the hunger that never rests, the belief that the next thing will finally complete you. Zen offers a soft reminder. The journey is the answer. The seeking is sacred, but it becomes suffering when you forget to pause. Pause now. Let your breath remind you. You are already in the river. You always were. Meditative imagery, the river path. Now close your eyes. Feel the rhythm of your breath. Let it become your raft. Inhale, exhale. Now picture a winding river under a soft moonlit sky. The water glows not with brightness, but with stillness. You stand at the edge. You step into it slowly. The water is cool, but not cold. It doesn't push. It welcomes. You begin to float, not because you're trying, but because the river carries you. Above you, stars reflect in the moving surface. Below, Smooth stones pass silently beneath your back. You stop asking where you're going. You stop asking when you'll arrive. And something inside you finally understands. The motion itself is the meaning. The flowing is the freedom. You are not the passenger. You are the water. You are the river. Inner dialogue. The voice of three. Now hear the voice rising gently from within you. I do not need to arrive. I do not need to be certain. I am allowed to search. I am allowed to pause. I can love the question. I can rest in the unknown. I do not chase answers. I live them. Let these words settle in your body, like stones falling gently to the riverbed. There is nothing wrong with your pace. There is nothing wrong with your path. There is nowhere else to be. Affirmations 4:3. Speak these softly, with the breath of the river in your chest. I honor my curiosity. I do not need to have it all figured out. I grow by seeking, not by arriving. I embrace change as my teacher. I allow myself to rest, even in the unknown. I am not behind, I am becoming. I welcome each moment with beginner's mind. I am the river. I am three, and I am free. Sleep induction. Flow into rest. Now breathe deeply. Let the river slow. Let the stars above flicker gently. Let the current carry you towards stillness. Your body floats effortlessly, weightless and calm. Let your arms release. Let your spine soften. Let your mind settle. Like soft silt beneath slow water. You don't need to reach. You don't need to know. Just be. Let the motion hold you. Let the river carry you. Softly, gently, endlessly. You are not lost. You are not scattered. You are whole in motion. You are three, and you are exactly where you're meant to be. Now drift, child of the river mind, and when the time comes, we'll step onto dry land, into the stone, into the silence, into Digit 4, the Stone of Stillness. Module 5, 4, the Stone of Stillness. If the last digit of your birth year is 4, you were not just born under a number, you were born with the rhythm of the earth inside you. You are not one to rush, to shout, or to compete in loud arenas. You are the stone on the hillside that watches the centuries pass. You are the grounding presence in a world chasing speed. While others leap ahead in search of greatness, you pause, you steady, you listen, you feel the ground before you move. To carry the energy of 4 is to walk through life with deliberate calm. It is to notice the cracks in the foundation, while others are still admiring the view from the rooftop. It is to build slowly, carefully, intentionally, even if no one is watching, even if no one applauds. Your wisdom lies not in how high you climb, but in how deeply you root, not in how loud you speak, but in how gently you live. When you were younger, perhaps you felt overshadowed by louder personalities, by people who moved fast, who changed jobs, cities, friends like outfits, but you stayed. You didn't follow the wind. You listened for the pulse beneath the surface. And in doing so, you became something rare. A person who does not move for movement's sake, but moves when it matters. A person who does not chase, but attracts. A soul that holds the world's weight without showing strain. Parable. The rock that waited. There was once a young monk who felt left behind. He watched his fellow students go on pilgrimages, publish teachings, gain followers. He remained at the monastery. One day, he approached his master. "Why do I feel so unseen?" he asked. "Others pass me on every side. I remain." The master, did not answer. He simply led the monk to the center of the temple garden, where a large grey stone rested. It was weathered, cracked, unmoving. This, the master said, was placed here 70 years ago by a monk who never became famous, never wrote a book, never travelled. But everyone who visits this garden stops to rest here. They sit, they breathe, they find peace. Because while names fade, a steady presence endures. The monk said nothing, and in his silence he understood. Stillness is not invisibility. Stillness is not failure. Stillness is not lesser. It is power that does not need a stage. It is strength that doesn't seek a name. It is the rock that waits and becomes a place of rest for others. Reflection. The people of 4. If you were born under the number 4, you likely move at your own rhythm. Your life may look slower from the outside, but within you is a deep ocean of patience, of purpose, of knowing. You may not be the first to speak, but when you do, people listen. You may not jump into every trend, but when you commit, you stay the course. You are often the one who holds things together when others unravel. The quiet anchor, the calm hand, the one people turn to when the winds rise and the noise becomes unbearable. You do not seek the spotlight, but your presence is remembered, not for flash, not for fire, but for the way your peace makes others feel safe. You value simplicity, not because life is simple, but because clutter distracts from what matters. You want what is true, what is lasting. You don't need many things, you need meaning. You might sometimes feel overlooked in a world that rewards fast movers and loud talkers. But remember this: the world may forget the shout, but it always remembers where it found rest. Zen says, the oak tree does not run, it grows, slowly, faithfully, quietly. So do you. Zen thought, just sitting, shikantaza. In Zen practice, there is a form of meditation called shikantaza. It means just sitting. Not sitting to get somewhere, not sitting to become enlightened, not sitting to achieve, just sitting. To the outside world, it looks like nothing is happening, but within that stillness, a revolution of awareness is unfolding. The mind settles, the breath deepens, and slowly, gently, a person becomes themselves again. People with the energy of 4 often carry this meditative power without trying. You do not chase answers. You allow them to come. You understand that life unfolds in layers, and the deepest truths arrive only when we stop reaching. You are not empty. You are full of things that grow in silence. Trust, wisdom, peace, clarity. Shikantaza is not a doing. It is a being. And you, dear soul, are already fluent in it. Meditative imagery. The stone garden. Now, close your eyes. Breathe in through your nose, hold, and breathe out through your mouth. Let your body become still. Let your breath become soft. Now imagine yourself in a traditional Zen rock garden. The sky above you is wide and pale. The air is dry and quiet. Before you lies a landscape of smooth white gravel, raked into perfect spirals and flowing lines. At the centre of the garden rests a single stone, grey, weathered, unmoving. You walk toward it slowly, your footsteps soundless on the gravel. You kneel beside it, you place your hands on its surface. It is cool, solid, familiar. You realise you are this stone. You are not the wind that rushes past. You are not the leaves that change colour. You are not the noise of the city. You are the one who stays, who watches, who waits. And in doing so, you become a source of peace for others. You are the center that holds. You do not resist change. You do not run from time. You simply endure. And in your endurance, you teach the world. There is power in patience. There is grace in groundedness. There is truth in stillness. Inner dialogue, the voice of four. Now hear this voice rise gently from within you. I do not need to hurry. I am not falling behind. I grow on my own schedule. My peace is not loud, but it is real. I trust the roots I have planted. I do not chase storms. I outlast them. Let these words anchor you. Let them replace the pressures of the world. Let them remind you, you are not slow, you are deliberate. You are not invisible, you are steady. You are the foundation others stand on. Affirmations for 4. Whisper these truths to yourself, each one like a stone placed gently at the center of your being. I move at my own pace. I trust the power of stillness. I do not need to prove my worth, it is already within me. I am patient, present, and grounded. I build slowly, and I build well. I am the calm when others lose direction. I rest in simplicity. My stillness is my wisdom. I am 4, and I am the foundation. Sleep induction, grounding the body. Now feel your body melt into the earth beneath you. Let your back sink into the bed, the floor, the mat. Let gravity hold you like an old friend. Your breath slows. Your chest rises and falls like the gentle hills at dawn. Let your hands rest open beside you. Let your jaw soften. Let your forehead release. You are the stone in the garden now, unmoving, grounded, whole. You are not here to prove anything. You are not here to impress anyone. You are here to be. Let your dreams come like moss, growing slowly in the shadows. Let peace return to you like the first light of morning. Let stillness become your cradle. Now rest, child of the still soul. You have nothing left to do, nothing to change, nothing to chase. Sleep, and when you wake, we will meet the wind ungraspable, unpredictable, untamed. Next comes Digit 5, the Spirit of Wind. Module 6, 5, the Spirit of Wind. If your birth year ends in 5, you were not born to stay still. You were born under the breath of the wind, restless to some, free to those who understand. You shift, you change, you evolve, not because you are uncertain, but because life is a dance, and you were born to move. The energy of 5 is movement itself. It is not the movement that flees, but the movement that explores, that stretches, that awakens what has settled into silence. You are the breeze that stirs the leaves on a still tree. You are the gust that lifts the curtain on a quiet morning. You do not stay where life has grown stagnant. You are the reminder that even the sky must shift. Others may try to label you restless, unreliable, too quick to change. But labels are fences, and you were not born to be fenced in. You are not a puzzle to be solved. You are a wind that redefines the sky. Parable, the master and the kite. A young student worked tirelessly to build the perfect kite. He used the strongest wood, the finest silk, the most balanced design. Day after day, he tested it against the wind. And each day, the kite was torn, snapped, crushed by the wind's force. In frustration, the student approached his master. "I have done everything right," he cried. "Why does the wind fight me?" The master said nothing. He walked to the edge of the cliff and pulled from his robe an old, faded scarf. Without a word, he tossed it into the air. The wind caught it instantly. It twisted, floated, danced, not by strength, not by structure, but by surrender. The wind cannot be controlled, the master said, but it will always lift what knows how to move with it. And the student watched as the scarf rose higher than any kite he had ever made. Reflection: the people of 5. To carry the number 5 is to carry contradiction, a hunger for change and a yearning for home, a need to explore and a longing to belong. You might have moved cities more than once, changed careers, let go of people who no longer felt aligned. You do not do this because you are broken. You do this because your soul listens deeply. It hears when something is complete, and it knows when it's time to move. The world often misunderstands this. It rewards consistency, routine, predictability. But the energy of 5 was not born for repetition. It was born for evolution. You are not reckless. You are responsive. You feel the shift of seasons before others see them. You sense the moment when what once served you now limits you. And so, you let go. You move forward. You trust the unknown more than the familiar, because deep down you know, life is not meant to be a cage. It is meant to be a current. Zen thought: no attachments, no resistance. In Zen, the wind represents impermanence. It comes without warning. It changes without apology. It cannot be captured or held. The teachings tell us, let go or be dragged. To resist the wind is to break. To move with it is to be transformed. The energy of 5 asks, can you change without losing yourself? Can you release without regret? Can you trust that what leaves you was never meant to stay? This is the gift of non-attachment. Not coldness, not carelessness, but the courage to trust the flow of life, even when it carries you away from everything you once knew. To be 5 is to dance with the unseen, to surrender not because you are weak, but because you know what is strong. Meditative imagery, the wind garden. Close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath in, hold, release. Now, imagine yourself in a wide, open garden. It is evening. The sky is painted with orange and gold. Tall grasses sway in waves. Paper lanterns hang from bamboo poles, glowing softly in the twilight. Chimes sing in the distance. The scent of jasmine moves through the air. And the wind is everywhere. It brushes your cheek, wraps around your arms, rustles the trees, and carries whispers you cannot name. You stand still for a moment, and in that stillness, you feel it. Motion does not mean chaos. Movement does not mean instability. You are moving because you are alive. You are changing because you are listening. The wind circles you, not to confuse you, but to remind you, you are free. Inner dialogue, the voice of 5. Listen now, as your inner voice begins to rise, not like a shout, but like a breeze across your heart. I am not broken, I am becoming. I am not lost, I am discovering. I release the need to stay the same. I give myself permission to grow. I am not here to fit into a mold. I am here to shape the air around me. Every time I change, I come closer to who I really am. Every time I let go, I make space for something more true. Let these words wrap around you. Let them carry away your guilt, your fear, your hesitation. Let them leave you light. Let them leave you whole. Affirmations for 5. Speak them silently. Let them rise and fall like wind between leaves. I am not stuck. I am in motion. I honor my need to change. I release the pressure to be one thing forever. I let go with grace. I trust the direction my soul is moving. I allow myself to evolve without fear. I bring movement and magic wherever I go. I do not resist the wind, I dance with it. I am 5 and I am free. Sleep induction, resting in the breeze. Now take one more breath. Let it flow in. Gently, let it flow out, slowly. Feel the wind within you, in your breath, in your thoughts, in your heartbeat. Let it move freely. Let it swirl. Let it settle. You do not need to grip anything right now. You do not need to decide. You do not need to know what comes next. You are like a feather, resting on the breeze, held, moved, protected. Let your body grow light. Let your mind grow soft. Let your heart feel untethered. You are not the plan. You are the possibility. You are not the structure. You are the sky that holds it all. Sleep now, child of the wind. There is nothing to hold, nothing to fix, nothing to chase. There is only this moment, this motion, this breath. And when you wake, you will meet the circle. The giving, gathering love of Digit 6, the circle of compassion. Module 7, 6, the circle of compassion. If the last digit of your birth year is 6, you were not just born to feel, you were born to heal. There is a sacred warmth in you, a gentleness that reaches without pushing, a kindness that arrives without needing praise. 6 is the number of the heart's gravity. You are the presence that makes others soften. You are the warmth in the room that no one notices at first, but no one forgets once they leave. You are the tea poured into shaking hands. You are the calm when grief enters a room. You are the light that remains when the fire has gone out. To carry the energy of 6 is to live in the center of circles you never tried to form. You don't chase closeness, it finds you. You don't demand loyalty, you inspire it. You listen before others know how to speak their pain. You might often be mistaken for soft-spoken or shy. But make no mistake, compassion is not weakness. It is strength in its quietest, most powerful form. Parable: The Master's Bowl. A monk came to the Master, worn and weary. He said, "Master, I gave my last bowl to a beggar today. Now I have nothing." The Master smiled gently and said, "And now you are finally useful." Confused, the monk asked, "How can I be useful if I have nothing left to give?" The Master picked up an old gourd from the table. It was hollow, faded, and empty. "Is this gourd valuable because of its shell?" the Master asked, "or because of what it has space to hold?" The monk was silent, and in that silence he understood. True compassion isn't about what we give when we are full. It is about what we create space for, even in emptiness. Reflection: the people of 6. People born under the number 6 are often healers without realizing it. You may find yourself called to comfort, to listen, to hold space for others before they even ask. You are the one who stays after the party to clean up, the one who notices when someone goes quiet, the one who texts, "Are you okay?" before anyone else even senses the shift. But your depth of care can become a double-edged gift. You may feel guilty when you say no. You may try to help everyone and end up forgetting yourself. You may believe that love means self-sacrifice. Zen offers you a reminder. Compassion without boundaries becomes self-erasure. To be 6 is to carry the ability to heal wounds you cannot see. But to truly do so, you must also tend to your own. You deserve the care you offer. You deserve the rest you deny yourself. You deserve to be whole even when you are not giving. Zen thought, metta, loving, kindness to all beings, including yourself. Metta is the ancient Buddhist practice of loving kindness. It is the soft chant of goodwill to all things, to loved ones, to strangers, to those who have hurt us, and most importantly, to ourselves. People with the energy of 6 are natural empaths. But the challenge is this: can you offer metta inward? Can you see yourself with the same gentleness you offer to the world? Metta does not mean becoming everyone's refuge, it means becoming your own. You are not a well to be emptied. You are a fountain to be refilled. You do not need to disappear to be worthy. You are already worthy, even in stillness, even in solitude, even in saying no. Meditative imagery, the circle of bowls. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and slowly let it out. Now imagine a quiet room inside a Zen temple. The floor is wooden. Incense drifts through the air. There are 10 monks sitting in a circle. Each one holds a small, smooth bowl. In the center of the circle, there is a large clay pot of warm tea. But no one pours for themselves. They pass the teapot in silence. Each monk fills the bowl of the one beside them. No one is forgotten. No one is left behind. And by the time the teapot has made one full circle, each bowl is filled. This is the way of 6. Not giving until you are empty, but giving in a way that keeps the flow alive. In this image, you are both the one pouring and the one being served. You are not outside the circle. You are not alone. You are a part of a sacred rhythm. Let this become your truth. You are allowed to receive. You are allowed to refill. You are allowed to be held. In a dialogue, the voice of 6. Now feel these words rise from deep within. I do not have to carry it all. I am allowed to ask for help. My worth is not measured by how much I give. I am not selfish for protecting my peace. I am not weak for needing space. I give from love, not from guilt. I receive with openness, not with shame. I am sacred, I am whole, I am held. Let these truths echo gently through your body. Let them take the place of old burdens. Let them become your protection, your wisdom, your new language of love. Affirmations for 6. Let these be soft drops of kindness falling into your heart. I give with an open heart and open hands. I deserve the love I give to others. I am allowed to rest and replenish. I am a channel of healing, not the source. My care is powerful, even when it is quiet. I set gentle boundaries to protect my peace. I am love in motion. I am not alone. I am part of the circle. I am 6, and my compassion flows inward and outward. Sleep induction. Resting in the circle. Now, let your body grow heavy. Let your eyes soften. Let your thoughts quiet. Picture yourself in the circle again. Feel the soft bowl in your hands. Feel the weight of the tea. Feel the warmth. And now, someone pours into your bowl. You didn't ask, but they saw you. This is the moment you receive. No effort, no guilt, just presence. The warmth fills your chest. Your shoulders release. You are safe. Let this circle surround you as you fall into sleep. Let its rhythm become your breath. Let its kindness become your cradle. You are not the only giver. You are part of the whole. And tonight, you are allowed to be still. Rest now, gentle soul of the circle. And tomorrow, we will climb the mountain. We will walk into the mystery. We will meet the seeker behind the veil. Next comes Digit 7, the mountain within. Module 8, 7, the mountain within. If your birth year ends in 7, you are not a follower of paths. You are the maker of them. You carry the energy of sacred solitude. Not loneliness, but depth. Not distance, but devotion. You are not here to skim the surface. You are here to descend into the marrow of things. 7 is the number of seekers, of thinkers, of those who feel ancient even when young. The world may often seem too loud for you, too fast, too hollow, because you do not crave the noise. You crave the stillness beneath it. Parable. The Master on the Mountain. There was once a young seeker, full of questions and hunger for truth. He heard of a Zen master who lived alone atop a remote mountain where the sky met silence. Driven by yearning, he climbed for days, through wind and stone, through hunger and aching feet. When he arrived, expecting wisdom cloaked in ceremony, he found the master boiling water for tea. No temple bells, no ancient scrolls, just quiet. The student asked the question that burned in his bones, "What is the meaning of life?" The master said nothing. He poured a cup of tea and handed it over, then turned away. The student waited and waited. Time passed. His restlessness grew. Finally, he burst out, "Why won't you answer me?" The master turned and said, "Because the question lives in your voice. The answer will live in your silence." Reflection. The people of 7. To be born under 7 is to live between realms. You often see things others don't, not with your eyes, but with your insight. You are more likely to retreat than to fight, not out of fear, but because you seek meaning, not noise. You may feel more connected to forests than cities, more alive in books than at parties. You carry a quiet Firia hunger for depth, for purpose, for the unseen truths of life. While others chase applause, you chase understanding. While others sprint toward goals, you walk slowly, sensing the landscape beneath each step. You are not here to be known quickly. You are here to be discovered, layer by sacred layer. But this gift comes with a shadow. Sometimes you may isolate too deeply. You may feel misunderstood, distant, or like you're watching life through a glass. Zen reminds you, stillness does not mean disconnection. Silence is not absence. Your presence is a temple. You don't need to shout to be heard by the soul. Zen thought. The koan questions without answers. In Zen, koans are paradoxical riddles meant to unravel logic and open the gates to true insight. They are not puzzles to be solved, but experiences to be lived. What is the sound of one hand clapping? Does a dog have Buddha nature? These are not traps, they are doorways. They show us that truth is not always in answers, but in the silence that follows the asking. You, child of 7, live as a koan. Your life is not a linnet, is a spiral. You move inward, not outward. You descend, not to escape, but to unearth. The questions you carry are not burdens. They are sacred torches, lighting the path within. Meditative imagery. The mountain shrine. Close your eyes. Let your breath grow slow. Inhale, exhale. Now picture a narrow trail snaking up a quiet mountain. The earth is cool beneath your feet. The air thins with every step. Birdsong fades. People fade. Only your breath remains. You climb not in haste, but in reverence. You do not speak. The mountain does not need words. At the summit, there is no crowd, no gates, no thunder. Just a small stone shrine with a single mirror inside. You kneel before it, and in that reflection, you see only yourself. But this time, it is enough, because the climb was not to find something new. It was to remember what was always there. You are the mountain. You are the question. You are the answer. Inner dialogue, the voice of seven. Now listen inward as the mountain within you speaks. I do not need to rush. I am not late. I am deepening. My silence is not emptiness. It is sacred. My questions are not flaws. They are candles. I do not need to explain myself to be valid. I do not need to be loud to be wise. I walk slow because I walk in truth. I trust what unfolds, even if I cannot yet name it. I am not behind. I am below the surface, and that is enough. Let these words echo through the chambers of your heart. Let them wash over the doubts and soften the expectations. You are allowed to walk at your own pace. You are not alone in your quiet. You are the keeper of sacred depth. Affirmations for 7. Repeat them slowly, like wind weaving through pine trees. I walk in depth, not haste. My silence is full of wisdom. I am allowed to be misunderstood. I trust the path that unfolds from within. I honor the mystery of my soul. I carry sacred questions, and they are enough. I do not need to be loud to be wise. My slowness is not delay, it is devotion. I am sevened. I am the mountain. Sleep induction, entering stillness. Now, let your body become still. Feel your breath rise and fall, like a slow wind moving across high cliffs. You have climbed enough today. There is no summit to conquer, no goal to reach, only this breath, only this stillness. Let your thoughts loosen their grip. Let the questions rest. Let the silence wrap around you like soft snow. You are safe on this mountain. You are held by your own presence. You are seen by the stars above. Sleep now, child of silence. Sleep now, keeper of sacred questions. And tomorrow you will wake renewed, ready to return to the cycle, to the rhythm of infinity. Next comes Digit 8, the Infinite Return. Module 9, 8, the Infinite Return. If the last digit of your birth year is 8, then your soul belongs to the spiral. You were not born to travel straight paths, to scale linear heights, or to chase endpoints as if they could contain you. You were born into the sacred geometry of return, a soul shaped like the figure 8, always looping, always deepening, never truly beginning, never truly ending. Others may look at your life and misunderstand. They may think you go in circles. They may think you are stuck, that you don't move forward fast enough. But you are not circling in confusion. You are spiraling inward and upward. Each time you pass the same lesson, you do so from a higher vantage. Each return is not regression, it is refinement. You revisit, not to suffer again, but to see more clearly, to hold the moment with greater presence, to choose with more awareness, to transform over and over until the illusion of finality falls away. 8 is not the path of the traveller who leaves and never looks back. 8 is the path of the wise one who knows. Some truths must be lived more than once. Some doors must be opened again and again, until the act of opening becomes the teaching itself. To be born under the vibration of 8 is to carry a memory beyond your own lifetime. You walk with ancestral echoes in your bones. You sense patterns before they unfold. You feel déjà vu not as coincidence, but as confirmation. You are the keeper of karmic rhythm, the weaver of invisible threads between moments. Parable, the sweeping monk, expanded. In a quiet temple high in the mountains, there lived a monk whose practice was simple and exact. Every morning, long before the sun crested the hills, he swept the temple garden. He swept slowly, rhythmically. First the gravel paths, then the wooden walkways, then the stone steps near the bell tower, even on days when no wind had blown, when not a single leaf had fallen, when the dust had not stirred. Still, he swept. Visitors often watched him, puzzled. One day, a young traveller asked, "Master, why do you sweep when the path is already clean?" The monk paused, leaned on his broom, and with a smile said, "Because clarity does not come from the world being clean. It comes from the heart being devoted." Just as he spoke, a sudden breeze swept through the trees. Golden leaves spun down like blessings, settling gently onto the freshly swept path. The monk bowed to the moment. Then he began again, not with frustration, but with peace, because to him, the sweeping was never about achieving a spotless garden. It was about showing up with sacred attention. Again and again. Reflection, the people of 8, the pattern holders. Those born under the vibration of 8 often carry the sensation that life repeats itself. Not exactly, but rhythmically. You may find yourself drawn into the same emotional landscapes, meeting different people who somehow wear familiar masks. You walk into a new situation and feel, "I've been here before." You might wonder, why do the same themes echo through your life? Why do similar challenges revisit you just as you thought you had moved beyond them? But this is not stagnation. This is spiral wisdom. You are not circling the same ground. You are spiraling deeper into understanding. Some souls learn by leaving. You, however, learn by returning. To be 8 is to be the weaver of life's great pattern. You thread insight through memory, experience through time, grief through healing, and back again. You are the one who remembers what others forget, who senses karmic tides rising long before they crash, who sees the invisible map beneath the visible world. You might feel tired at times, tired of repeating, tired of revisiting, tired of starting again. But child of 8, you are not starting from scratch. You are starting from wisdom. Each time you arrive at what feels like a familiar place, you bring a deeper gaze, a quieter strength. What once overwhelmed you now teaches you. What once defined you now frees you. Zen thought, samsara, the wheel that teaches. In Zen, the word samsara speaks to the endless wheel, birth and death, loss and rebirth, creation and destruction, not only as physical events, but as emotional cycles, spiritual tides, moments that teach again and again until the soul no longer flinches. You may have been taught to believe that spiritual progress means escape, getting off the wheel. But Zen doesn't glorify escape. Zen honors presence within the cycle. You, 8, are not here to avoid your loops. You are here to walk them awake, to see clearly each time you return, to recognize the gift inside the repetition, to become conscious inside the curve. You are not doomed to repeat. You are blessed to refine. You are not stuck. You are spiraling toward light that only becomes visible on the 2nd, 3rd, 10th return. And eventually, you will begin to bless the cycle. You will bow to the turning wheel, not as a prison, but as a path. Meditative imagery. The spiral path. Now, take a soft, slow breath. Inhale through the nose. Hold. Exhale through the mouth. Let your mind drift to a new place. You find yourself at the base of a stone tower. It rises high into the clouds, covered in ivy and silence. There is no elevator, only a spiral staircase that disappears into mist above. You begin to climb barefoot, unhurried. The stone beneath your feet is cool and ancient. At first, it feels like you are walking in circles. There are no signs, no guides, no finish line in sight. But then you pass a small arched window. Through it, you see a forest canopy. A few steps later, another window. The treetops have grown smaller. Then another. And now you see clouds. You realize now you have never been repeating. You have been ascending, but through a sacred spiral, not a line. And with this realization, your heart softens, your breath deepens. You understand that your growth was never meant to be straight. It was meant to be true. You climb slowly, but every step is richer than the last. Each loop is not a failure. It is a return to what matters, with more wisdom, more presence, more grace. Stay here for a moment. Feel the sacred rhythm of your own soul. Feel the spiral within you, the way you return to yourself, again and again, but never quite the same. Inner dialogue, the voice of 8. And now, a quiet voice emerges from the depths within you. Not loud, not sudden, but steady, like the sound of a stream you didn't realize was always flowing beneath your thoughts. It speaks not in urgency, but in truth. I am not beginning again. I am beginning deeper. I am not being tested. I am being tempered. I return not because I failed, but because I am ready to see what I could not see before. I do not walk in circles. I walk in spirals. I ascend through rhythm, not straight lines. My past does not bind me, it prepares me. My patterns are not traps, they are teachers. My story is not linear, it is sacred geometry. I bless the path that bends. I forgive the parts that return. I trust what is repeating, because I now walk through it awake. Let this voice expand through your whole being. Let it settle in your spine, your shoulders, your breath. Let it replace the weight of again with the wisdom of this time I know more. You are the soul who remembers, the spirit who doesn't escape cycles, but transforms inside them. You are not caught. You are being sculpted by sacred rhythm. Affirmations for 8. Mantras for the spiral soul. Let these affirmations be like soft winds turning a prayer wheel in your chest. Repeat them silently or whisper them aloud as your breath becomes your anchor. I honor the sacred patterns in my life. I walk in spirals, not in straight lines. I do not start over. I start wiser. I return only to rise deeper. I am not behind, I am becoming. I hold ancestral wisdom and karmic memory. I grow in rhythm with life's unfolding. I trust the intelligence of the loop. I release shame around repetition and embrace refinement. I am not stuck. I am infinite in motion. I am 8 and I am the spiral that never breaks. Let these affirmations coat your mind like warm oil, soothing the parts of you that believed you had to get it right the first time. Let them teach you that returning is not defeat, it is depth. Sleep induction, rest within the loop. Now, allow your body to soften like petals folding inward at dusk. You have walked far today, not across lands, but across inner landscapes, returning not just to old thoughts, but to them with new eyes. Close your eyes gently. Let the weight of the day dissolve. Inhale slowly. Exhale deeply. Let your breath follow the rhythm of the spiral. Inhale, return. exhale, release. Inhale, return, exhale, release. Now picture yourself lying at the center of a great spiral drawn in the sand. It expands out in wide rings around you, each line perfectly etched, not to confuse you, but to hold you. The stars above you mirror the spiral below. The wind hums the same melody your soul has heard 1,000 times. You are not lost. You are being remembered. Each breath deepens your belonging to the rhythm. Each exhale untangles one more knot of urgency. You are not late. You are not repeating out of error. You are returning to gather the pieces of yourself once left behind. Let sleep arrive like an old friend, not as an ending, but as another return. Let your dreams flow in gentle spirals, reminding you of everything you already know. You are 8. You are infinite. And tonight, you rest in the grace of the turning. Module 10, 9. The fire of surrender. The sacred ending, the peaceful flame, the wisdom of letting go. The nature of 9. Flame at the edge of form. If your birth year ends in 9, you were not born at the start of the race. You were born near the finish line, where things begin to unravel into truth, where form meets formlessness, and where the fire no longer rages but begins to glow softly, ready to return to source. 9 is the final digit. It is the curve at the end of the road, the sunset after a long day of wandering, the exhale that follows a lifetime of breath. But this is not a place of loss. This is not death nor erasure. 9 is not the end of you. It is the beginning of something deeper, the self without clinging, the love without possession, the wisdom without noise. Those who carry this energy often feel as though they've been through many lives, even while living only one. You may notice that endings come to you easily not because you seek them, but because you understand their language, the language of gentle farewells, of closing doors with gratitude, of whispering thank you to moments before they vanish. To carry 9 is to feel the ache of impermanence, not as a burden, but as a beautiful law. You are the soul who understands that a thing does not last to be real. It simply needs to be felt fully while it's here. You do not rush to begin. You wait, you watch, you breathe. You enter the room like the last ray of sunlight, soft, golden, and just enough to remind everyone how beautiful light can be before it fades. And when the moment is over, you bow and leave without regret. 9 is the flame at the edge of form. It is surrender not as defeat, but as freedom. Let us now walk into this flame, not to burn, but to transform. Parable, the monk and the burning robe. It was late in the rainy season, and the clouds had not broken for several days. At the far end of a quiet Zen monastery, nestled between pine trees soaked in mist, a young monk sat alone beneath the overhang of the temple roof, his head bowed, his robe clinging to his skin from the night's storm. His eyes were red, not from the cold, but from grief. The night before, a fire had broken out in the meditation hall. No one was harmed. But the monk's ceremonial robe, the one he had spent 7 years earning through devotion, discipline, and silence, had been caught in the flames. By morning, it was nothing more than ash and memory. Now he sat in the rain, mourning something few would understand. He wasn't weeping over fabric. He was mourning the meaning he had given to it, the identity, the validation, the pride. To him, That robe had meant, I belong. I've made it. I am someone now. The headmaster of the monastery, a much older monk, known for his simplicity and startling wisdom, approached silently, carrying only a small lantern in the grey morning light. He sat beside the younger monk, not speaking. After a while, the young one whispered, "I worked so hard to earn it." His voice trembled. It was more than a robe. It was the symbol of my path, my belonging, my worth. The master nodded slowly. Then, with a surprising calm, he removed his own robe. He set it gently on the wet stones and poured oil from his lantern onto the cloth. Without hesitation, he struck a match. The flames rose like a quiet hymn. The young monk gasped, horrified. Why would you do that? And the master, watching the fire consume the cloth, said softly, "The robe is not the practice. The robe is not the truth. The robe is not you." He turned to the younger monk, whose eyes had filled again, but this time with something else. Understanding, awe, emptiness. The master continued, "What burns is not lost. What remains after burning, that is who we are. Not what we wear, not what we cling to, but what we become when everything we held onto is gone." As the last thread of the robe vanished into smoke, the master added only one more thing. You were not born to collect symbols. You were born to become silence. And then they sat. Two monks, one young, one old, drenched in rain, surrounded by ash, yet more whole than ever. Deep reflection, the people of 9. To be born under the number 9 is to carry an ancient kind of wisdom, one that rarely announces itself, but is felt like a low hum beneath the surface of your life. You may have always known, even from childhood, that things end, that nothing stays the same, that people leave, that seasons change, that even the most beautiful moments are like waves, arriving in fullness, then quietly slipping away. And while others may struggle with this truth, clinging tightly to what they love, resisting the natural unraveling of time, you, child of 9, somehow know how to release. You've learned not just how to hold on, but how to let go with grace. It doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean you don't feel the loss. In fact, you may feel it more than others, deeper, sharper, and with more layers. But you also sense something many never understand. Endings are not punishments. They are part of the sacred choreography of life. You do not love lightly. You do not live superficially. When you care, it is with intensity. But you've discovered, sometimes painfully, that even the most beautiful connections must be honoured, not possessed. And when their time comes, you know how to bow. You bow not in defeat, but in reverence, because you understand that true love, true growth, true peace comes not from control, but from release. You've lived many lives inside this one life. You've said goodbye to people, to versions of yourself, to dreams that once felt like destiny. You've mourned futures that never arrived. You've wept in silence, not because you were weak, but because you loved deeply enough to let something die. That is not failure. That is initiation. People may misunderstand you. They might think you're distant or overly calm in moments of chaos. But what they don't see is this: you've been through many fires, and now you are the flame. You have learned not to panic when things fall apart. You've seen it before. You know the falling apart is part of the becoming. You walk with a kind of invisible maturity, a softness in your eyes that doesn't ask for attention. But when others are hurting, they come to you. Why? Because your presence whispers, "I've been there. I've walked through endings. I've survived the fire, and I'm still here." You are the one who stays calm when things break, because you have already broken and found gold in the cracks. You are the one who listens without rushing to fix, because you know healing takes time and silence. You are the one who reminds others, we can let go and still be whole, and yet, even you forget sometimes. Even you ache to hold on, to cling, to resist, to make a moment last forever. That's okay. You are human, but remember, your soul was not born to possess. It was born to honor and release, again and again, like breath. You are the flame at the end of the candle, not flickering out in defeat, but returning to the great, eternal stillness. You are not what you've lost. You are what remains. When everything else has passed through, you are the fire. You are the silence after the flame. You are the peace of nine. Zen thought nirvana, the quiet extinguishing. In the West, we often associate peace with achievement. A goal reached, a moment won, a mountain conquered. But in Zen, especially for those born under nine peace, is not a trophy at the finish line. It is what arises when there is nothing left to chase. The Sanskrit word nirvana is often mistranslated as bliss or paradise, but its original meaning is far simpler and more powerful. It means to blow out, like the soft extinguishing of a candle, not in agony, not in fear, but in a gentle, natural end, when the flame has served its purpose. Imagine this. A candle burns brightly in a dark room. Its light flickers, it dances, it warms. But then the air shifts, and without resistance, it simply goes out. There is no panic, no screaming, just stillness. And somehow, the room doesn't feel empty. It feels sacred. This is nirvana. This is the journey of nine. You are not called to fight every ending. You are called to meet it with presence, to surrender not in despair, but in devotion. In the teachings of Zen, attachment is seen as the root of suffering. And yet, we all attach. We love. We build. We imagine forever. So how do we live without clinging? We become the candle that gives light, knowing the flame is temporary. We give our hearts fully, knowing they will break and mend and break again. We let go, not because we've lost faith, but because we trust the cycle of letting go. To embody nine is to live in a world of fire, but not be consumed by it. To burn without burning out. To love without needing to possess. To give without expectation of return. And when the moment of release comes, to exhale and let the flame return to where it came from. To say, this was beautiful. It is now complete. And I am still whole. That is your gift. 9. You carry a sacred detachment. Not because you are cold, but because you are wise. You understand. All things are borrowed. All joys are brief. All forms are temporary. But presence is eternal. You are the presence that remains when the fire is gone. You are the silent witness to the dance of impermanence. You are 9, and your fire is freedom. Meditative imagery, the temple flame. Now gently close your eyes. Let your breath soften. Let your thoughts stretch out like shadows at sunset. Let your muscles loosen, limb by limb, like ropes untying themselves. You are being invited not to fix, not to strive, but to witness. Breathe in. Hold it. Now exhale slowly, like smoke rising from incense in a quiet temple. Now, imagine this. You are standing at the base of a mountain. The sky above you is velvet and dusk-coloured, and stars have begun to open slowly, like eyes waking from dreams. You begin to walk a narrow stone path, winding gently upward. Each step is silent. Each breath feels deeper, easier. Eventually, you reach a gate made of ancient wood. It creaks open without resistance, and you enter a temple so quiet, it feels as if the entire world has paused to listen. Inside, there is only one thing, a single flame. It burns atop a golden lantern in the center of the room. It is not large. It is not dramatic, but it glows with something eternal. You sit before it. The ground is cool beneath you. The silence is not empty, it is alive. You watch the flame. You notice how it moves without fear, how it dances without attachment, how it gives itself freely to heat, to light, to beauty. You understand? This flame is you, your thoughts, your stories, your old dreams, your fears. They've all burned here, and they've all returned to ash. You sit quietly, watching your life flicker in its final embers, not as loss, but as release. And then, without force, the flame grows smaller and smaller until there is only a soft glow, and then darkness. But it is not cold. It is peaceful. The light is gone, but somehow you feel full. You realize, I was never the flame. I was the space it warmed. I was the awareness that watched it dance. I am not what has ended. I am what remains. In this moment, you are not trying to hold on to anything. Not people, not titles, not identities, not pain. You are just being. And that is enough. Let your breath rise like heat. Let it fall like ash. You are safe here. You are sacred here. You are at rest in the temple of surrender. You are 9, and you are home. Inner dialogue, the voice of 9. Now, as the embers of the temple flame dissolve into silence, a voice begins to rise from within you. It's not loud. It doesn't shout. But it knows you. It has lived in your chest for years, beneath all the things you thought you had to keep. And now, it speaks. Listen closely. I do not fear endings. I was born knowing that all things return. The leaves fall, the seasons pass, the candles melt, and yet nothing is lost. I have loved deeply and let go when the time came. I have grieved without bitterness. I have walked away without closing my heart, because I know letting go is not the same as forgetting. It is honouring the beauty of what was. I am not the things I've outgrown. I am not the wounds that once shaped me. I am not the stories I told myself to survive. I am the silence that holds them now, gently, with grace. What I release becomes light. What I forgive becomes space. What I surrender becomes peace. I do not cling to people, roles, or timelines. I do not need permanence to feel secure. I walk lightly, with love, and when the moment arrives, I set it free. I am not burned by the fire. I am the fire, and I am what rises after the flame. I am not empty. I am clear. Let that voice echo now, not in words, but in knowing. Let it root itself in your chest. Let it become a part of your rhythm. Let it be your breath, your guide, your quiet strength. You do not need to explain it to anyone. You do not need to prove your peace. The world may rush, others may cling, but to you have remembered something sacred. That to surrender is not to fall apart. It is to return whole. And so, child of 9, rest your soul against this voice. Like a head upon the lap of the universe, it has always known your name. Affirmations for 9. Let these be like embers glowing quietly in the dark. Simple truths that burn slowly, softly, and forever. Whisper them softly or simply breathe them in, as if your soul is drinking warm light. I surrender with grace. I do not fight the tides of change. I float with them. I trust them. I honor their rhythm. I trust the wisdom of endings. Not all things are meant to last, and that does not mean they failed. It means they fulfilled. I am not here to hold on. I am here to let flow. I release my grip on what no longer fits. I trust the space that opens in its place. I do not lose myself in loss. I rediscover my truth. Even in pain, I remain whole. Even in departure, I remain present. My letting go creates space for beauty. Each time I surrender, a new light enters. Each time I release, a new season blooms. I release what no longer serves me, not with bitterness, but with thanks. I do not burn to vanish, I burn to transform. I am the fire and the freedom. I am the ash and the rebirth. I am 9, and I am the fire that returns to light. I am the quiet after the blaze, the peace that follows letting go, the sacred end that leads to something even deeper. Let these words linger in your breath. Let them settle into your bones. You do not have to repeat them all. Even one, softly held, can change the way your soul breathes. Let this be your permission to release, to rest, to rise again clearer than before. Sleep induction fade into peace, a gentle descent into silence, where the fire dims and stillness returns. Now, let your body soften like wax warmed by a flame. Let your hands fall open. Let your jaw unclench. Let the muscles in your back loosen, as if they've been carrying stories that now you no longer need. Breathe in, deep, slow, without effort, and exhale as though you're releasing something ancient, a weight you didn't know was there. Again, inhale peace. Exhale everything else. Now, imagine yourself inside a dark, sacred temple. It's empty and full at the same time. There is only one light here, a small flame flickering at the center of the room. It's not bright, not showy, but steady, alive. This is your inner fire, not the fire that burns down cities, but the fire that warms what's sacred, the fire that survives storms, the fire that knows when it's time to glow and when it's time to dim. You walk toward it. Each step is a breath. Each breath is a letting go. You sit beside it. You feel its warmth on your face. You close your eyes, not out of sleepiness, but out of reverence. You say nothing. There is no need. Everything important has already been spoken, through your quietness, through your journey, through your fire. And now, the flame grows smaller, It leans, it dances, and slowly, gently, it fades, not out of fear, not from lack, but because it has completed its purpose. And you are still here. You are not afraid of the dark anymore, because you have become the warmth itself. You rest now in the afterglow, that deep, sacred place where everything is silent, but nothing is missing. You are not your memories. You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are the presence that witnessed them all, and let them go. There is nothing to fix now, nothing to achieve, nothing to hold. You are resting in the arms of surrender. Let yourself float now, as if your body were the last ember of a sacred flame, slowly, gently, rising into a starlit sky. Let go. There is nothing left to carry. Sleep now, sacred flame of 9. You have burned. You have blessed. You have surrendered. Now, return to peace. And soon, we will enter the final gateway, the quietest space of all, beyond numbers, beyond time, where everything dissolves. And you remember, you are not the digit. You are the awareness that watched them all. Final module, you are not the number. And now, dear listener, we arrive not at an ending, but at the dissolving edge of all beginnings and all conclusions. We have walked through the sacred gate of every digit, 0 through 9, each a window, each a parable, each a mirror. We heard the stillness of 0, the flame of 9, the movement of 5, the quiet weight of 7. We sat with monks and masters. We swept temple paths. We held bowls, climbed mountains, circled gardens, and now we set them all down. Let this truth wash over you gently now. You were never the number. You were the awareness behind it. The one who listened, the one who breathed, the one who knew, deep beneath every layer of thought, that you were never the robe, the parable, the memory, or even the voice that whispered the affirmations. You are the silence in which all of this happened. And silence, beloved soul, is not emptiness. It is the mother of form. It is the beginning that never needed to begin, the end that leaves no trace. In Zen, they say, when the story ends, the truth begins to speak. And yet, even that is not quite right, because the truth never stopped speaking. We simply got quiet enough to hear it again. So, let's get quiet. Let's fall beneath the narration of your life, below every label, your age, your role, your history, your digit. Let us sit in the field before the numbers. Let us step forward, and as the old koan says, find there is no ground beneath us, not because we are lost, but because we are free, the teaching beneath it all. There's an old story in Zen, not one you read in books, but one that floats between temple walls, spoken in the hush after the gong has faded. A student once sat with his master and asked, "Master, what is the truth?" And the master did not answer right away. He sat still, silent, like a mountain before dawn. Then at last, with a gesture as soft as moonlight, he pointed forward and said, "Take a step." The student did as told, but when he stepped, there was no floor, only air, only falling, only the realization. There is no ground to stand on. There never was. And in that freefall, in that moment where all certainty vanished, something unshakable emerged. The truth. You see, so much of life is spent trying to define ourselves. We search for frameworks, for symbols, for meaning. We ask, who am I? What defines me? Why was I born? What is my path? And while these questions are sacred, they are not designed to be answered in the way we imagine. They are not puzzles to solve. They are candles, meant to be carried until we discover that the light they cast has always been coming from within. You are not a definition. You are not your year of birth, not your country, not your name, not even your story. You are what has witnessed the entire unfolding. You are the sky that holds the storm, but is not the storm. You are the awareness that listens to the heartbeat of life and says, I am, without needing to explain. There is no number for that. There is no label for the sacred. What you truly are is beyond language, beyond categories, beyond even the roles we've given to spirituality. You are not becoming enlightened. You are what watches the becoming, what remains. Even when the robes are burnt, the candles go out, and the temple is empty. You are the temple. You are the field before thought. You are the bell that doesn't need to ring. You are the peace that doesn't require proof. And so, we let go. We let go of the number. Let go of the search. Let go of the climb, the chant, the question. We return to the groundless ground and find ourselves whole. The ending is the beginning. The candle flickers. The final chapter closes. The breath slows. And something in us whispers, is this it? But in Zen, the end is not an exhale that fades into silence. It is the beginning hidden in the disguise of a farewell. The digit 9, that sacred flame of surrender, whispers goodbye. But it is a goodbye that curves back into hello. The moment something ends, something unseen begins to stir. This is the paradox of the spiral. What seems final is only a turning. What feels like closure is actually invitation. Think of 0, the number we began with. But was it really a beginning? 0 is not the start of something. It is the space that allows the start. And 9, the last number, is not a finish line. It is a door that opens quietly inward. In Zen, the circle is everything. Enso, the sacred brushstroke, is painted in one breath, one movement. It begins and ends in the same place. But the artist is changed. So are you. You, dear listener, have walked through 10 stories. You've heard parables, met monks, wandered valleys, climbed mountains, burned robes, poured tea. And each number has reflected something in you, a pattern, a feeling, a memory. You may have cried. You may have felt understood. You may have seen your entire life in the pause between 2 sentences. But now comes the most sacred truth of all. You are not the numbers. You are the one who noticed the numbers, the one who sat with them, the one who listened without rushing to judge or define. You are not the loop. You are not the lesson. You are not the digit. You are the breath between them. You are the return. Even 8, the spiral points not to repetition, but to refinement. Even 3, the mirror is only a surface that reflects something beyond itself. Even 1, the path is still walked by something deeper. So here, at the end of our journey, you are invited not to understand, but to rest. Rest in the realization that there is no need to hold on. The digits were never cages, they were windows. And now that you've looked through them, you can step outside. No labels, no timeline, no destiny to prove. Just you and the present moment. Infinite, unbound, free. You are not standing at the end of something. You are standing at the center of everything. Imagery, the open field. Now, close your eyes gently, or soften your gaze if they are already closed. Let the outside world blur. Let the noise, the names, the numbers dissolve into quiet mist. Now, picture this. A wide, open field stretches out endlessly beneath a moonless sky. No hills, no roads, no signs to follow. Only soft, wild grass that brushes against your bare legs, and the hush of wind that doesn't rush. Because here, there is no destination. The air carries no scent, no story. It simply is. Like you stand barefoot, grounded, and for the first time, no one is watching. There is nothing to perform, no role to play, no image to maintain. You are not being weighed by the world. You are not being remembered. You are not being forgotten. You are not being anything at all. You are simply here. This field does not ask questions. It does not expect transformation. It does not challenge you to become. It welcomes you exactly as you are. Not more enlightened, not more healed, not more whole. Just you. You do not have to name yourself. You do not have to make sense of your past. You do not have to plan your future. There is no timeline in this field. There is only the wind, and your breath, and the great silent awareness that holds both. This is not a place you travel to. This is a place you return to. Every time you stop reaching, the grass bends beneath you without resistance. The sky above you does not ask what year you were born. It does not care about the digit that shaped your lesson, because now there is no more lesson, no more symbol. There is just space, open, quiet, sacred, and in that space you realize you are not becoming, you are being. Nothing more is needed. You were never behind. You were never broken. You were never late. You were simply moving through the spiral, through the fire, through the silence, back to this open field of presence. This is your home, not a place in time, but a place beyond it. You may forget it when the world becomes loud again, when labels call you back, when clocks tick and titles tighten around your soul. But this place will wait for you, because it is not separate from you. It is you. Now breathe. Inner realization. The voice that remains. Now, in the quiet of this open field, something begins to stir, but not from outside, not from the trees, the air, or the sky. It rises from within, from a place deeper than thought, older than language, more honest than any story you've ever told yourself. It is not loud. It does not shout. It simply arrives, like morning light that doesn't ask permission to enter the room. And it speaks, not with words you hear, but with truths you remember. This is the voice beneath all voices, the one that watched you as a child, silent in wonder, the one that whispered to you in sorrow, when no one else knew how to hold your pain, the one that remained, even when everything else left. Let it speak now. I am not my story. I am not my year. I am not the number they gave me, or the meaning I attached to it. I am not my habits, not my goals, not the projections of others. or the patterns I repeated in their names. I am not 0, though I held space. I am not 1, though I walked alone. I am not 9, though I surrendered deeply. I am not the seeker. I am the stillness that watches the seeking. I am not here to win. I am not here to understand. I am not here to become. I am here to remember. I am here to witness. I am here to be. Let that voice echo softly in your chest. Let it move through the silence of your bones. It does not ask for anything. It does not demand you become more. It does not promise reward. It simply offers this. You are not the role. You are not the reflection. You are not even the mirror. You are the space in which it all arises, and the stillness in which it all dissolves. As this truth gently unfurls within you, notice what begins to fall away. The pressure, the fear, the ache to belong, the worry of time, the illusion of being late. You are not late, because there is no race. You are not lost, because there is no map. You are not broken, because you were never meant to be a shape that could crack. You are presence, not the noise in it. You are the sky, not the weather that passes through. And when the world calls you again, when the identity rushes back in like a tide, remember this voice. It lives here, always, not to save you, but to remind you, you never needed saving. Final affirmations. Closing sleep induction. Now that the voice has spoken, and the illusions have begun to fall away like dry petals from a flower long in bloom, we return, not with effort, but with ease. We do not need to push. We do not need to grasp. We only need to remember, and so we do. Let these final affirmations rise not as declarations, but as quiet recognitions, as soft truths that were always waiting for your breath to slow down enough to hear them. Say them not loudly, but inwardly, like a monk walking through fog, one step at a time. Affirmations of unity. I am not defined by time. I am whole, with or without answers. I carry all the numbers and none of them. I rest in the quiet behind my thoughts. I let go of becoming and return to being. I am not behind. I am not late. I am not broken. I am enough. I am presence. I am peace. I am here, and that is sacred. Let them echo, like the soft ring of a bell that has already been struck. Let each word dissolve into you, not as something to hold, but something to sink into. And now, let go of even these. Closing sleep induction. The bell fades. Let the breath slow now. Let your chest rise, like a moon floating through still water, and fall, like dusk laying gently across a mountain's spine. Let your shoulders release. Let the face loosen. Let the grip on your day dissolve. You do not need to keep any of this. You do not need to remember the numbers. You do not need to hold on to the wisdom. You do not need to try, because the deepest truths, the ones that transform us, are not remembered with effort. They are remembered with silence. So breathe now. Imagine the bell. One soft ring, then silence. Let that ring echo through your body. Not loud, just enough. Let it ripple into your fingers. Let it soften your back. Let it move like a warm river through your belly. Let it rest in the cradle of your heart. Let it ring once more, but only inside you, as a whisper, as a final gesture from the universe saying, you are not the number. You are the stillness that holds them all. Now, let the sky wrap around you like a blanket. Let the stars remain awake so you don't have to be. Let the world carry itself tonight. You have carried enough. You do not need to search. You do not need to change. You do not need to speak. You are not the digit. You are the field that holds all digits. You are not the birth year. You are the eternal witness behind it. You are not a seeker. You are what the seeker has always been seeking. Sleep now, dear listener, not as someone trying to rest, but as someone who remembers they already are rest. Final whisper, sleep now, and when you wake, don't rush, don't fix, don't analyze. Just remember, you were never the year. You were never the digit. You were the space between. You were the witness. You are the silence behind the sound.